हेलो हेलो ये तो पुराना ही चल रहा है। ठीक है तुम देख लेना। आ रहा है? ठीक है। Okay, yeah. So these are the 5 P's of medicine. Now, this most of them you already understand. Predictive medicine basically based on whatever is prevailing, all these conditions. That is predictive medicine. Preventive medicine is you are trying to prevent the disease before it occurs. Okay, then precision medicine is giving medicine for a particular problem that is being occurred in a person. Okay, then after that you come to personalized medicine. In this you go into the details of person's genetic history, medical history, and based on that you give medicine. Last is, this is a new term, participatory medicine. So basically increasingly there is a global talk about that the medicine should also be participatory, as in now we are developing all these different kinds of devices. So basically educating people of how they can take care of their health. Okay, there are many kinds of sensors and wearables that are coming. So these also should be integrated because they are, many people are anyway using it. So this also should be integrated in our medicine practices. Okay, this is participatory. Then now yeah, so see right now, so there are many drugs that are metabolized by river enzymes. Especially there is a particular enzyme, we did not remember the name, but it handles almost 75% of common drugs. Now there are two kinds of metabolizers, as in people. So there are poor metabolizers. So what they will do, they will have low enzyme activity and the drug will accumulate. Okay, and this will have the risk of toxicity at standard doses. So these people, they don't absorb, their body does not absorb the drugs very quickly and it remains in their body. So the effect of drugs is much longer. Now if you give the same dosage that is being given to other people, then they can have toxicity at the standard doses. Other extreme is people with ultra rapid metabolizer. So what will happen, they have very high activity. So what will happen, drug is cleared from their body very quickly. So when they take drugs, immediately it is cleared. So they will require, so what they are experiencing, they are experiencing reduced therapeutic effect because drug is not staying in their body for long. So both of these extremes are suffering. People in the middle are just doing fine. Then yeah, so see, around 90% of the people carry at least one actionable pharmacogenetic variant affecting drug response. So 90% people somewhere lie, for some drugs they will lie here and for some they will lie here. So that creates problem for 90% of the people. That means for 90% of the people, personalized medicine will work better. Then next is genetic factors significantly contribute to adverse drug reactions, a major cause of hospitalization and deaths in developed countries. So in India, the major issue is drugs are not reaching people or people are not able to reach hospitals. But in developed countries, the major issue that has now become, especially in developed countries, is the adverse drug reactions, because they are immediately getting drugs and treatment and everything, but still they are having adverse drug reactions based on which they are getting hospitalization and deaths. Okay. Then next, yeah, real world applications. Just one to name, if you remember, it's good to quote. For example, warfarin. This is actually a blood thinning medicine. blood thinner only you read. Okay, so it was seen that there is 50% dosage variation between two different kinds of genes in people. So some people have one gene variant, they would require whatever, let's say they require X quantity, the other variety, other people may require X by 2. Okay, just this much you need to know, so that you can quote that in warfarin, a type of blood thinners, the genetic variation is almost of 50%, leads to almost 50% dose variations. That's it. Then there are in psychiatry also antidepressants. If you know about, people are given antidepressants, so those doses also varies. Now people are being given same antidepressants to most people. Then other is in oncology, that is related to cancer, tumor and patient genetic markers increasingly used to select targeted cancer therapies. That's it. Okay, so these are just quotable examples. No one will ask you the specific of it, just to quote in mains, 1-2 of them. Then next, what are the main challenges in implementation of this? So first is knowledge gaps among clinicians in interpreting and using genetic reports. So first is knowledge gap. Okay, then second is limited integration of genetic data into electronic health records and prescribing systems. So right now, even the Ayushman Bharat health record that you have is about your medical history, not your genetic history. Correct? Then inconsistent insurance reimbursement and unclear payment modes. Okay, then next, economic challenge. See, so the upfront cost of testing and unequal access can delay adoption, especially in low resource settings. So cost is high. Now actually the cost has come down, at least in for the developing countries. Now it has come down to $200 to $500. Okay, otherwise it used to be thousands and thousands of dollars, but still $200 or $500 is still, like, it's still 20,000 or 50,000 for us. Okay, so that is still high. Then regulatory complexities. Many drug labels carry pharmacogenomic information, but guidance is uneven. So they have the information that this particular gene, if you have, then some drug labels will have this information, but guidance is uneven. That is some actionable, and some are only informative. Some is only giving information, some are giving you actions that if you are this variety, then you should take this, though hardly available. Even if it is available, not proper. Then cultural and institutional resistance. This is of course always in India. Then needs administrative support and champion clinicians to drive adoption. Basically, these are cultural and institutional resistance. These are the main reasons. This is directly from the article of the Hindu. Okay, these were the reasons that were given. Okay, now what is the path forward? So first is move towards preemptive testing, so that the patient's genetic profile is available before drugs are prescribed. That means what? Preemptive testing should be done so that everybody's genome or genetic profile is already available. So before even providing drugs or testing this drug will work in what way, you should have all this available. Just like you have your health records, you should have your genetic records also. Then testing costs have significantly fallen from thousands to $200 to $500, aiding broader adoption. Then next is shift from population based reactive medicine. Right now what we have is reactive medicine, बीमार हुए तब कुछ दवाई लेते हैं, to individualized proactive and precision medicine. Then use genomic insights as a biological roadmap where genes guide safer and more effective prescription. This is the path forward. Okay, they all come under the umbrella term of precision medicine. So precision medicine will involve all of this. Precision medicine is at the intersection of your medical history, your genetic history, then different kind of drugs that are more specific in formulations. All this given in perfect dose are precision medicine. So this article focuses on this part of it, that relates it to your genetic makeup. Okay, then wait, so medical history, specific drugs and treatments. Okay, then next is Birsa 101. Okay, so this is about sickle cell disease, we had understood, correct? Now this is the CRISPR-Cas9 also, we know. So this Birsa is actually CRISPR-Cas9 based tool through which we are treating sickle cell disease. Okay, now this is indigenously developed. See, so this is India's first indigenous CRISPR based gene therapy developed to cure sickle cell disease. Okay, then aims to provide affordable genomic medicine specially for vulnerable tribal communities. Okay, as I told you, sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease is most common among certain pockets of tribals. That's why they have named it Birsa. Okay, so Birsa Munda, you know about Birsa Munda? Okay, so he was a revolutionary fighter. If you go in tribal states, they call him Birsa Bhagwan. Okay, so he has almost godlike status there. So this is Birsa. On his name it is given because it is very important for tribals. They are suffering the most from this. Then designed as a one-time lifelong cure by editing defective genes. This is important. This may seem extreme to you. One-time lifelong cure. Now how effective it will be, that will come later. Right now we are in phase 2, phase 3 trials. But if this is given as a statement, you have to mark this correct because this is given in PIB. Okay, so this is a one-time lifelong cure. Then who developed it? So this is developed by CSIR IGIB, Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. CSIRs, you know? Yes. So basically CSIR have very specific institutions. There is for rubber, there is for cotton, there is for this genomic studies. So different. After CSIR you will find a specific institution like this, always written. Then in partnership with Serum Institute of India for technology transfer and scaling. Then this is named in honor of Birsa Munda. Then what are the objectives? So objective is support India's target to become sickle cell free by 2047. This provides low cost alternative to expensive global therapies that cost 20 to 25 crores. We don't exactly know what will be the price for Birsa 101. It is yet to be released, but it will be very low cost. Then promote Atmanirbhar Bharat in medicine, in medical biotech. This is fine. This is generic statements. These you should be able to write yourself. Okay, to increase 1 point. That's it. Then yeah, here we will understand the mechanism. So what they are doing, first let's understand how it works right now. So sickle cell anemia, how it is treated right now. So they are always looking for a donor. Okay, so how it works now? So let's say this is a person, he has sickle cell disease. Now you know his hemoglobin and red blood cells will have this shape, correct? So that is the issue. Now what they do right now, they look for a donor that has similar similar antigen lymphocytes. Why? Because when they will enter any different kind of cells in his body, okay, different kind of stem cells, when they will enter in his body, what is the first thing that will act on it? White cell or white blood cells will act on it. That is why it is the donor is usually chosen from brother, sister, like that, because they have very similar antigens that this person will be having. So his antibodies will also be, his white blood cell will also be able to identify that ye to mera hi hai. So then it will let it be. Okay. Then, so right now let's say you get a donor, everything matches in this donor, then you do what? Some medicines are given, medicines and injections are given to this donor to increase his stem cells, number of stem cells, hematopoietic stem cells these are called, basically, which make blood. Okay, so these are specific stem cell that makes blood. Stem cell, you understand? Yeah. So from here stem cells are transferred to this person. Okay, and it is done a few times, and one more thing is done, that his stem cells are removed. So his original stem cells are to be removed, and this stem cells will be introduced in his body. Then he will have the new kind of hematopoietic stem cells that will be producing circular RBCs. Understood? This is the normal procedure, how it works with the donor. Now, of course, there are several issues. First, finding this donor. Second thing is immune rejection is very high still. Hardly in 25-30% cases it works fine. Otherwise, there is very high immune rejection. Then, this donor also has to go through an entire procedure. Okay, so this is not so suited. Now, what they have developed is much better. Now, see that. See, so first thing what they will be doing is this. So they will be extracting hematopoietic stem cells. Okay, so they will be taking out the stem cells that make blood. Then these are collected from the patient's bone marrow and blood. Okay, so that they take out. Then they will do gene editing using CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR-Cas9, you know. So CRISPR-Cas9 is a gene editing tool. So basically what happens, if there is a gene like this, now let's say the problem area is this. This is the problem area. So what they will do, they will remove this problem area and instead they will put another gene here, which is fine. So this is what CRISPR-Cas9 does, basically cutting the undesirable genes and entering the correct genes. Okay, now, so what it is doing, so gene editing is being done using the indigenous ENF FN Cas9 CRISPR gene editing platform. So we have developed this ourselves. This particular one is developed indigenously. Of course, it follows the same process as CRISPR-Cas9, but this is our indigenous system. Then what happens, the defective HBB gene, you need not remember the gene type, HBB gene responsible for producing abnormal sickle shaped red blood cells is corrected. So you are doing genetic editing, जिस part of gene की वजह से it used to become sickle shape, that you will remove and then corrected in the extracted stem cell. Corrected means what? So whatever should be the normal one for circular red blood cells, that will be entered here. Now the gene or now the stem cell that you have, that is well enough. If you put it back in his body, now it will have very low immune rejection also, because it was his own cells. You need not search for any donor also, correct? So simple process. Then you will do what? You will do infusion. The corrected healthy stem cells are then infused back into the patient. Finally, what will happen? Production of healthy cells will be done by those stem cells. Now they are claiming that it will be a one-time thing, which I don't think would be one time. It will take several times, because you will have to introduce more and more stem cells, then some biological issues may be created, then it may be done 2-3 times, but right now they are claiming that it will be one time. In one time they will be treating it. So we will consider it to be correct. Then once reinforced, it will lead to healthy cells, like it was happening in donor's case. Then this process is ex vivo process, because you are changing or editing that gene outside the body. In vitro fertilization, ex vivo, same thing. So this is basically taken out and being done outside. Then key features. So this is built on fully indigenous CRISPR platform that we have developed, NFN Cas9 by this. Then low cost alternative to global gene therapies backed by public private partnership for scalability and safety. How PPP? One is that CSIR and other is Serum Institute. Then supported by a new translational research facility. This is fine. So this is what BIRSA 101 achieves. Then significance. This will position India among global leaders in gene editing therapy because this is the first time we are able to develop something using CRISPR-Cas9. Okay. Then helps eliminate sickle cell disease in Gond, Munda, Bhil, Santhal, all these tribal groups. Okay. Then strengthens capability to produce world-class treatments. Fine. Next. This was also in news. This is Cloudflare outage. Okay. Many articles were published. See, I'll explain you what is Cloudflare first of all. Okay. So understand, let's say this is a user, this is you. Okay. Now you want to open a website. So what you will have to do? In general sense, if there is no medium, nothing, then the user's request will go to the website's server, and from the website server it will come back to the user. This is the normal process. Now this process will take a lot of time because a simple website, okay, for example legacyIAS.com, it cannot have servers throughout India, correct, at every place. So it will take a lot of time. Okay. Now this is an issue. Also this website is being run by us. Now we don't have a proper full technical team. Now let's say some other coaching institute tries to attack this website. What will happen? There can be denial of service attack, bot attacks, this attack, that attack. What will happen? We won't be able to protect it. Entire site is gone. So there must be someone that can protect the site. Okay. So there are two issues. One is of speed. So let's say some person is trying to open it in Delhi, then everything is coming to Bangalore servers and it is taking time. Other issue is security. Let's say there is some threat or attack, who will protect this? Now both of these are solved by an intermediary, example of which is Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is an intermediary between the user and the website. Okay. So what it will do? The user's request will first go to Cloudflare. Now Cloudflare has data centers or servers across the globe. Okay. So many server, many data centers they have already made. They don't reveal how many data centers or servers they have, but they have like thousands and thousands of across the globe. Now what happens? There is a term called edge computing. That is everything being done at the edge. That means what? Now the user will send a request that I want to open that website. Now whatever website is registered with Cloudflare and paying it the monthly amount or whatever. Now Cloudflare stores a lot of data from that website as cached files in its local servers. So basically it knows that all the people who open legacyIAS.com are doing this to download, let's say, PYQ PDFs. So what it will do? It will store the PYQ PDFs in its local server. So now if a person, let's say from Bangalore, he is trying to open it, then the nearby server, whatever in Bangalore, so what will happen? It will only come to this Cloudflare, will request that I want to see this PDF. Cloudflare have it in their own data servers. So it will go back from here only. It will not even contact the website. Okay. So this increases the speed a lot. Okay. Then Second issue was of security. So Cloudflare actually has developed many different systems. There are many encryption certificate systems. You might have seen on some website it says encryption certificate expired. Okay, so these encryption certificates are given by Cloudflare. Also they have bot management tools. Okay, they have many tools to understand and identify abuse. So if there is some user that is trying to abuse or get this website down, so he will do what? He will send thousands and thousands of bots to immediately get to the website server so that it crashes. So this will identify कि ये तो मैं जानता हूँ, I know this is not a normal user. So it will stop the traffic. So basically the second thing that it does, it manages the traffic that is going to the website. Okay, so as to eliminate all the threats, all the attacks that are there. These are the two main functions. Now we just go through the topic. Okay. Yes. API is AWS, you are saying? Yeah, AWS. See, understand the difference. This is fine. Now, see, how is AWS different? See, so basically, let's say this is a user. This is let's say this is a user. Now, the structure looks something like this. Basically, from user, you have to reach the app or website of, let's say, legacy IAS. So those websites or app are built on AWS. So AWS provides the platform to build the website or app. Okay, Cloudflare is something that is managing two things only, speed and security. So to connect, yeah, so it is doing the service in the middle. AWS is the platform on which you develop a complete website. Understood? Okay, so these are different. Now, also Cloudflare can also interact with the AWS or your app. For example, let's say somebody tries to open legacyis.com and now wants to access the lectures. For that, it will require a login. So now, login of any person cannot be stored by the Cloudflare. Where it will be stored? It has to be stored with the legacyis.com only. So now, when this person tries to log in or get some information that will be stored only in the app or website, then Cloudflare will send this request to the app or website. The app or website will check if you are a registered user and then it will send it back. So from this, permission will be given and it will be set to Cloudflare that you can allow yes. So then Cloudflare will allow it to be opened for the user. So this is how it will work. These are called AWS and all these are called APIs. Okay, application performing interface. So these are on which apps or websites are built. Now you might think, okay, that why don't AWS that can run an entire website, do everything, should do this also? Correct? Why to have this intermediary? Okay, so actually Amazon does this also. It also has its own system of acting as an intermediary, but still many websites use Cloudflare because there are 2-3 advantages with Cloudflare. Okay, one is because this is not connected to any company, so you can diversify your portfolio. For example, you can have certain parts of your website run on AWS, certain parts on Google Cloud, certain on Microsoft Azure. So these are different APIs. So you can run in all three of them, some parts. Also, Cloudflare is much more cheaper. Okay, that is why there is an intermediary called Cloudflare that is used by all these websites. And also sometimes some websites are actually competing with AWS or these companies. For example, Netflix competes with Amazon also, with the Prime Video, and with Google also for YouTube. So they cannot be cannot have this arrangement where some data might be transferred from here or there. So that's why the Netflix uses Cloudflare. X also uses Cloudflare. Understood? Okay. Then. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah. Cloudflare outage on 18th of November. So a major incident happened. This briefly broke access to services like ChatGPT, X, Canva, some games and many APIs. So that connection between the APIs and because it was an intermediary that was broken. Now requests routed via Cloudflare were failing, so apps could not be reached even though their own servers were fine. Correct? Because the intermediary stopped working. Then Cloudflare, earlier it was being said that it may be an attack by some bots or, but they are claiming that there was no attack, it was some internal error. Okay. Then next, they won't be asking you about this particular outage as such. They will ask you about Cloudflare. What is this intermediary? What it does? That question is probable. Then what is it? It is a US based internet infrastructure provider for CDN, security, DDoS protection. Now DDoS is denial of service attacks. This is content digital network, also called a reverse proxy. Basically it is just ensuring the same thing of speed. Okay. And security and DDoS protection is the same thing, comes under security, and traffic routing. Okay. Two functions only you have to remember, not this much detail, just simply it does speed and security. Then sits between users and origin servers as a proxy or accelerator for websites and apps used by huge share of web. So approximately it is said that 20% of the websites use Cloudflare, and many of them are very important. For example, ChatGPT, X, these are websites that are very, very important. So 20% of the internet uses this single company. Okay. Now yeah, so this is security, performance, faster pages loading, this that, and reliability. If there is sudden increase in load, this that, so that will be also managed. These are its main function as we understood. Then yeah, yeah, so many apps uses this. Users request never reach ChatGPT, X or Canva. Concentrating critical back-end functions in one provider turns a single glitch into a systemic outage. Okay, like we did a similar article was there based on APIs, that there are only 3 APIs on which almost the entire internet depends. Correct. Similar is this. Now this is not API. API are very difficult to change, but intermediary also, one single intermediary is occupying 1/5 of the internet. Then what broader internet risks are there? So heavy reliance on few infrastructure players creates single points of failure. Then app reliability alone is not enough. So their apps were fine, their websites were fine, still because of this intermediary they were not able to connect. Then true resilience needs multi-provider design, failovers and better risk planning at the infrastructure layer. Generic. Then we come to next, National Epilepsy Day. This was, if you see in newspaper, this was on 17th of November. Actually the whole November month is declared as National Epilepsy Awareness Month. One thing that you may know, that this is different from International Epilepsy Day. So you will see articles on that day also. That is on second Monday of February. that is a different thing. Basically they are both doing the same thing, same awareness generation. This is at the national level, that is at the international level. That's it. Then first of all, what is epilepsy? Yes, seizures. Okay, so people, because of some neurological issues, they may start getting seizures. Okay, in Hindi we call it mirgi ka dora. That means incidences of seizures. Okay, now see, so a national observance in India to raise awareness about epilepsy and its challenges. Okay, now what this focuses on? This focuses on early diagnosis, timely treatment and social support for people with epilepsy. Because most of the times what happens, especially in rural areas, that they consider that some kind of witch is there in them. Okay, so all that issues are there. So social support is also needed for them. Then aims to reduce stigma, myths and discrimination associated with the disease. Okay, these are the basic aims. Then this is 2025. Okay, observed every year on 17th of November. In 2024, it is in 2024. It was 5. It falls on 17th of November. Okay, every year on 17th of November. Now, led mainly by Epilepsy Foundation of India at the national level. This is a sort of an NGO that is working with these people. Epilepsy Foundation of India was founded in 2009 by some person. Fine. Then what is epilepsy disease? So this is a chronic neurological disorder characterized by recurrent unprovoked seizures. Okay, now seizures occur due to sudden excessive electrical discharge in group of brain cells. So they have sudden discharge of electrical signals in their brain cells, because of which they get these sudden seizures. Okay, then it is written a single seizure alone does not mean that there is epilepsy. Sometimes because of shock, or some people also have episodes during that Navratri, when they are not eating anything, not drinking anything. You might have seen that those people say that Mata aa gayi, they start moving their head and all. So those are most probably seizure incidences. Baki, I don't know. Then key symptoms are what? So of course, first and major, sudden seizures with uncontrollable shaking or jerking movements of arms and legs, temporary confusion, blank staring or loss of consciousness or awareness. Okay, then sensory changes such as odd smells, unusual taste or strange visual sensations, all these are basic symptoms. Then yeah, major causes. So first and major causes, genetic predisposition in some families, that is hereditary causes. Then because of some brain injury or infections also, they start getting this. Okay, then developmental disorders, for example in autistic children, neurodevelopmental conditions, so their brain is not developed properly. Then stroke and heart disease affecting brain blood supply, especially in older adults. Okay, then prenatal brain damage from oxygen deprivation or maternal infections, that is during the pregnancy period. Then in about, now this is important, in about half the cases cause remains unknown. Okay, because this is very difficult to see in terms of genetic profile also. So it is very difficult to understand why something like this happened. Okay, most genetic diseases also you can see that this came from the mother, this came from the father, like that. Or the pathogen caused diseases you can obviously find in the blood or urine or whatever samples. But this is very difficult to understand what might be the cause, because some people are getting it in the middle of their life. This you can still ensure, but brain injury or infections or because of some kind of trauma it is there, so that becomes very difficult to get what is the cause of it. Then global and burden. So around 7 crore people worldwide live with epilepsy. About 1.2 crore only belongs to, where is, India. So 1 by 7 is only in India. Now this line, this is fine. Then in India, these two data is enough. Then in India, epilepsy is especially seen among children aged 8 to 12 years with a 5-year prevalence of about 22.2 per 1000 children. So it is more prevalent in children, at least in India. Then next, how is epilepsy managed and what are the treatment and challenges? So first line is of course anti-seizure medicines to control abnormal electrical activity. Then for drug resistant cases, let's say for some people this might not be working, these medications, so then they have to go for surgical options. Okay, surgeries they have to go through. Then lifestyle measures, so adequate sleep, stress reduction and avoiding known triggers. So some people might understand some of their triggers over time, so they have to avoid them. Then around 1/3 of the patients do not respond adequately to current treatments. Now see, 1/3 are not responding to either medications or this surgery, nothing they are responding to. So 1/3 are not responding to this. That also tells you that this is a major challenge that we need to tackle, because 1.2 crore people are affected and there is of them 1/3, that means more than 30 lakh people have no treatment available. Then major challenges: treatment gap, late diagnosis, social stigma and lack of awareness. Then next, what are the key government initiatives? So one is this National Program on Prevention and Control of Epilepsy. Then what they have done, they have increasingly integrated this epilepsy care into the primary health services of the government hospitals. So government hospitals provide certain primary health services, correct? So in that they are increasingly integrating this. Then there are district mental health programs. Okay, if you know, there are some mental health hospitals mostly in big cities. For example, in Delhi it is there, in Bangalore it is there, and therapy, if you know, is very costly, but if you go there you can get very low cost therapy also, because many students are like in Delhi there is an institution that is where students study this. Okay, so there if you go you can get all that therapy and everything at very low cost, because they are anyway learning. Okay, so they are getting the patients. Now mostly the doctors there are dealing with the extreme cases, people who are getting seizures or all these cases. Okay, then community based rehabilitation programs and use of telemedicine and remote diagnosis to reach rural areas. Yeah, this institution I was talking about, NIMHANS, National Institution on Mental Health and Neurological, like something like this. Then Bacteriological sciences, yes. Last is this glass report on AMR. Okay, this was in last week. This came on 14th of November. Then it was in news throughout the week. So they AMR, you understand, antimicrobial resistance. So basically what we have seen, antimicrobial resistance. So what happens? Microbes stop responding to standard antibiotics, making infections harder, costlier, and sometimes untreatable. So basically, for a particular kind of pathogen, you have certain antibiotics or drugs, you take them and it is supposed to kill it. But what is happening now? Those microbes have become resistant to all those kinds of antibiotics and they are not getting affected or killed by them. So that is antimicrobial resistance. Now, this is linked to nearly 5 million deaths in 2019 worldwide. Now, GLASS is a report by WHO. Okay. Now, this tracks AMR and antibiotic use. So there are basically two terms that you will find here, AMR and AMC. I think it should be there. Wait. Yeah, see, enrolled in AMR, enrolled in AMC. This is what? This is antimicrobial consumption. This is antimicrobial resistance. So these are the two data that they measure कि consumption कितना क्या कर रहे हैं every country के लोग and what is the level of resistance that there is. Okay. Now, so what it said, India joined this in 2018. Now, this was done on 104 countries. It shows that 1 in 6 lab confirmed bacterial infections is antibiotic resistant. Now, examples of this are E. coli and pneumonia, MRSA. All these are examples. So basically, the data that you need to remember is 1 of 6 commonly used, the 1 in 6 lab confirmed bacterial infections are antibiotic resistance now. Now, this is at global level and at India level, actually the data coming out to be 1 out of 3. Okay, we'll also understand why it came so high for India. So basically what they did when they were doing this survey in India, so they went to the big cities, tertiary hospitals. Tertiary hospitals means we provide very like advanced care. Okay, so people who are already very ill in those high class hospitals, there they went and from there they collected the data. Now, those people who are getting treatment there, they are already exposed to antibiotics from many decades. So of course they will have much higher prevalence of antibiotic resistance. If you go in the villages where people are not taking that many antibiotics, for example a tribal population, they will have antibiotic resistance very low. So that's why the data is a bit skewed. Then now what do they highlight for India? So AMR is of course serious and escalating threat in India. 1 in 3 bacterial infections here is resistant to common antibiotics versus 1 in 6 globally. But it is a major issue still in India. The reasons for which are, first is over the counter antibiotic sales that we get, ऐसे गए ले आए without any prescription, nothing. Then self medication, okay, people know what medicine I should take. Then incomplete courses, okay, if the course is given for 3, let's say 3 days or 5 days, they never completed. Then irrational broad spectrum use and fixed dosage combinations. So certain combinations are made and that are given by the doctors. If you might turn your medicines, you will find these are 4 to 5 things and that are given by doctors without thinking much. Then misuse in livestock, poultry and aquaculture. This is also major issue because when you consume it, then you will also be getting it because these are also bioaccumulants. Okay, so this accumulate in your body and your body also will become resistant to those. Then pharma and hospital effluents, poor infection control and sanitation. Okay, then low public awareness and weak enforcement of rules. So there are rules that you should not get over the counter medicines. Now these app based, if you try these app based, what they have started doing, pharmacy and all that. So what happens now, they cannot give it without prescription. They are a proper app. So of course the government will regulate them. So what they say that you have ordered this medicine, now a doctor will call you. So doctor calls you and says this medicine, what is happening to you? So you say fever hai. Okay. So this is just recording to tell that a doctor was consulted. So loopholes they keep on finding. Then what are key gaps in India's AMR surveillance? Then so first is data is mainly from tertiary hospitals. Then second is private clinics and small labs contribute little, so community infections are poorly captured. Okay, so community infections, we still don't know what is the level of community spread of AMR in India. Then limited pathogens and specimen types were tracked. So limited pathogens were tested, making the national AMR picture partial and skewed. Okay, so these were the issue with the research, but the thing is that AMR will be at least very high in India for the urban population, because we are consuming antibiotics at a very high rate. Okay. Then major initiatives has India taken against AMR. Now first is national program on AMR. No, not this. The important one is this, National Action Plan on AMR since 2017. This is NAP AMR. Okay, you might remember about National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAP double C. So this is NAP AMR. So first thing is this. Then second is participation in GLASS, this survey, and national networks like AMRSN. All these are national surveys. You need not know the full form, just generic. Then in 2019, this you can always quote in mains. This is the only useful thing that we have really done. Is in 2019 we banned colistin. This was a growth promoter used in food animals. For example, this was given to hens and chicken to promote their growth. So this was banned. Okay, then CDSCO approval of newer antibiotics and AMR industry alliance efforts for R&D. Now see, so what is happening now? Let's say these antimicrobial resistance, we will get over it. This will be our process. That all is fine. But right now, if it is not working, then how will people get over diseases? So for that, you need to have new medicines. Okay, that needs to be approved. So new medicines are being developed outside, not much in India, but our organization is doing what? It is approving new medications of antibiotics. Okay. Then, so Kerala, this was also an article. Kerala has actually seen slight reduction in AMR. This is the only state that has seen this. Okay, it is not like a huge dip, but at least there is a dip. Now, why there is a dip? So Kerala does what? Kerala did what? So Kerala AMR Strategic Action Plan started in 2018. This uses One Health multi-sector approach. One Health is what? Basically, people, animals, all these are considered One Health approach. So basically, community, people, everything around. If all of this is healthy, then only we can have a healthy life. Otherwise, if the animals are left, stray animals are left as it is, if the environment is not clean, just by cleaning your home or cleaning yourself, you won't be able to secure good health. Okay, so that is One Health approach. Now, they came with something called Amrit. So that targets OTC antibiotic sales. Now, they have introduced inspections and penalties for OTC antibiotic sales, and they allow public reporting. Now public reporting actually is you can use this in governance. This is actually a underutilized phenomena in India, क्योंकि लोगों को इंडिया में बहुत ज़्यादा आदत है that they complain about somebody else. Okay, so public reporting in India, the issue that the government face is once it allows public reporting on anything, then they are flooded with messages and photos and this and that. But if this can be collated well, then this can be a good measure in almost all government schemes. Okay, then antibiotic literate. So basically Kerala has a plan to create awareness in such a way that by December 2025 they will be declaring their entire state as antibiotic literate, that is people at least know about antibiotics. This medicine is an antibiotic, so this will have this effect in my body. So very basic, should be known by everybody. This they are trying. So this shows that firm regulation plus public literacy can curb misuse of on the ground. So Kerala model is something that can be regenerated throughout India. This can be quoted as a case study. Then what is the way forward? So first is expand AMR surveillance to secondary, primary and private facilities. Okay, so this surveillance was specially done in tertiary hospitals, in some big hospitals. This should be first expanded to understand the real dearth of this problem, real scale of this problem. Then enforce prescription only sales. Okay, replicate Kerala style regulation in other states. Then strengthen One Health coordination. Okay, then build AMR literacy to change public and prescriber behavior. Then fund and monitor state AMR action plans. Okay, then while supporting affordable stewardship aligned new antibiotics. So one is for right now, if there is such a prevalence of AMR, we need to develop and give approval to new antibiotics, and in the long term we need to fight this antimicrobial resistance. This is all that you need to know about AMR. Some basic of it, why it happens or all that procedure, that we deal in science and tech lectures. Otherwise, this is all that you need to know. You will find many articles based on AMR, that much is enough, nothing more. Okay, now let's go to questions. Options are only 1, only 2, only 3, all 4. Which one is correct? First one is correct. Then second one, this is not correct. Why? Because this is nothing to do with cancers. Third one is incorrect. This is not about vaccine. This is a gene therapy. So, and Serum Institute is contributing in that, scaling this therapy. Then next is initiative supports India's long-term goal. This is correct. Correct. So answer becomes 2 statements are correct. So only 2. Then which one is wrong? Fourth one is wrong. Why? Because it does not cost tens of thousands. Now it is $200 to $500. Other all 3 are correct. So answer becomes 1, 2, 3. Then next, this is according to glass. Okay. Okay, which one is wrong? First is data skewed towards tertiary hospitals. Yes. Networks like this improve surveillance, yes. Kerala's Amrit target OTC antibiotic control, yes. Private sector is fully integrated into surveillance, no. If you know, some very specific tertiary hospitals of private sectors may be covered, but you have private hospitals in rural areas also, not covered at all. So answer becomes only 3. Then next. One, 2 and 4. So first is works as CDN or reverse proxy between users and servers. Yes, this is the basic functions. Offer DDoS protection and traffic routing. Yes. Second function. Then only static websites use it? No. Dynamic websites also. As you understand, if there is a login, it will interact with your AWS or servers and then get back the information. Heavy reliance creates systematic outage risk. Yes. So answer becomes what? 1, 2 and 4. Okay, then last thing, what was the first topic? Huh? Genomics. This was actually based on sum of two things. One is pharma and other is genetic profile of anybody. Eventually this will lead to personalized medicine. Then we learnt about certain gene variants that act better in some people and ultra metabolizers and low metabolizers. Okay, so those are two kinds of people. Then there are certain medicines that we learnt about, for example warfarin for blood thinning, so that acts differently on different varieties. Okay, otherwise it's a main topic that you can see. Then next is, so this is Birsa 101. So this is basically completely indigenous. This is first indigenous CRISPR based technology that we have developed. For this we have our own platform. Okay, I think this was the name. Okay, so this is our own platform that we have developed. Then this will deal with sickle cell disease. Okay, so there is no need of donor, and of course it will be using stem cells. Then next is Cloudflare. This is an intermediary between user and the website. Okay, it provides only two things, mainly speed and security. And then there was an outage recently. Next was what? AMR, and there was a GLASS report by WHO. It checks two things, AMR and AMC. Now there was two data, 1/3 and 1/6. This is for global, this is for India. Then there are reasons that comes in main, that why you have antimicrobial resistance and what are the ways to solve it. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Huh? Oh yeah, National Epilepsy Day celebrated on 17th of November. Now what is this? This is basically seizures caused by some kind of neurological defects. It has many causes. It may be because of genetic causes from the parents, some trauma, some other incident. Okay, some injury. That's it. Thank you. Chitra, your classes are completely done. SC, internal security and art and cultures. काफ़ी बचा ही है. So there are classes right now.